Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Industry Professionals time.
A long time ago.
Oh, no. All right, let's just start making a bunch of sci-fi movie jokes because we're talking about Star Trek, and that's where it all started.
I'm going to be honest, my sci-fi knowledge for movies kind of ends with Star Trek and Star Wars, so...
Yeah, that's the majority of it at the very least.
It's the Stars, Trek Wars, and Ship Troopers.
Ooh, yeah, you got your Gattacas?
That's two. That's like...
Is that too?
That's
too far?
That's your nerd.
Oh, no. Well, I've never seen Gattacas, so I don't feel like I should be...
Battlestar Galactica's lit, though.
You're the nerd.
It's not when it's me. It's a thinking man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it takes a level
A
of
philosopher
IQ.
king.
All right, so today we're gonna talk about some Star Trek stuff. We watched Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan from 1982, just because it's regarded as the best one.
And I'm not gonna say the line because I'm not basic.
What's the line?
I'm not gonna say it.
Is it when he shouts Khan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then that's the line. Ben's basic.
This is entrapment.
We're also going to talk about that the newest season of Black Mirror, that one episode.
Yeah, that one. The Star Trek one.
Yeah, you already know where this is going.
Star Trek one with Matt Damon guy.
Yeah, the guy who looks like Matt Damon and just seems mean.
Dude, I love his voice in that episode though. His like trying to do like a 70s Shatner.
Yeah.
Like, well then, Mr. So-and-so. I don't know why. That's a little much.
That was a good impression, dude.
That was like Kermit the Frog.
All right, and then lastly we got... All right, that's enough. Lastly, we got Galaxy Quest, because that's like a parody of Star Trek, essentially.
Ooh, love of my life.
Oh, yeah.
I love Galaxy Quest so much.
Well, we'll get there when we get there, Anya, all right?
Sorry,
Can't jump the gun
excited.
just yet. We have to talk about this movie first.
Yeah.
So, have you guys seen Wrath of Khan before this?
Yes.
No.
Okay. How many times have you seen it, Ben?
Probably once or twice.
Wait, let's start off with, how much of Star Trek have you guys seen?
Very little.
Okay.
I've seen the new movies, because I'm basic, and I've seen a couple episodes of New Generation, and now I've seen Wrath of Khan.
Next generation?
What did I say?
Is it New Generation?
It's the same thing. Come on.
Look, I just said I didn't
Yeah,
Star Trek. Like, I just prefaced that.
That was a good
Yeah.
demonstration
No, I feel
of
like-
how little you
I
know.
feel like also, though, just to clear the air, like, if we say stupid stuff, like, because Star Trek is such a thing that people can infinitely be into,
Yeah.
but I feel like anybody listening is probably our age and is not gonna be
Nitpicky.
yeah we're making ourselves vulnerable here by talking about Star
Yeah.
Trek and not being like lifelong Trekkies.
Yeah, I don't know much about anything about Star Trek. I know names and the Enterprise.
It's
a smarter
that's a
Star
name.
Wars. Yeah, there
It's
it
a
is.
smarter Star Wars.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
That's what
dude.
everybody says
Well,
it is.
no, I think in some ways because they have episodes where it's like, oh, but how do we get these tariffs on this thing in Federation space?
Yeah.
And so we're going to have an episode where it's us in a boardroom talking about like resolving this like financial dispute.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the reasons why people don't like the prequels of Star Wars? It's 'cause
I think
it had
so.
all that financial stuff in it.
The Trade Federation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that
Who,
high council talk.
yeah.
So what of Star Trek have you seen? You didn't answer the question.
I was letting other people talk. You
Well-
know me. I'm always. I've seen Wrath of Khan. I've seen a handful of episodes. I've seen like famous episodes of the original show.
Okay.
I've seen here and there Next Generation, and I've seen the new movies.
All three of them?
No, only the first one. So
So new movie.
yeah, I've seen one new movie.
Okay.
But I also like, I feel like I kind of why I was interested in the topic is because I feel like I've absorbed so much just from being a nerd who is adjacent to Star Trek culture, right? Because like, you know, I love Star Wars, or even if you just love a nerd thing,
Yeah.
like you're adjacent to that subculture and you just
It's
it
hard
bleeds
to
over.
avoid it at
I
a
mean-
certain point.
Yeah, it's everywhere in our media. Like, I was never a sci-fi nerd. I was always like a fantasy type person. But like, there are so many things from Star Trek that I just recognize instantly in our media.
Like everybody knows that the
Yeah,
hand
Yeah.
symbol
there's so
from
many
birth.
things that everyone knows, even if you've never seen Star Trek. Like I feel like
live long and prosper.
yeah, everybody knows it. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Set phasers to stun.
Yeah.
Klingons.
Klingons are a thing in the show. What are they? Is that
They're-
like an alien?
They're aliens. They're like a
What do you mean?
warring
What?
race.
Dude, like,
They're the main antagonists at the start, but then we kind of learn that there's more depth to it than that, and by the next generation, there's a Klingon on the new Enterprise.
they're the
Worf.
forehead guys.
Yeah.
They're the forehead
If you must
eyebrows.
reduce them to their physical characteristics,
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
what they are.
honest.
I'm not a phrenologist, so I don't.
I'm gonna be honest. Most aliens in Star Trek could qualify as the forehead guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the ones that are in memes.
What meme? Wait, how are you in spaces where you see Klingon memes but don't know what a Klingon is?
Dude, I don't know. For a second, I was like, Klingon might be like a measurement of speed,
Oh, come on.
like a parsec.
Yeah, that's also a whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I don't know. In high school, I remember my mom and my grandma really loved Star Trek because my grandparents loved
my
this show.
grandfather on my mom's side was like a huge Trekkie.
Like, same. And so I was like, oh, it's all on Netflix. I'll give it a shot. I watched like half of the first season, and it was just incredibly boring. I felt like if I was born in that generation, would have probably been all about it, but just seems a little dated.
So here's kind of my theory, which is, or my big thesis about this, is that there is a type of nerd that Star Trek paved the way for, or maybe was the first modern thing to tap into, where the most valuable thing is a wealth of information and like incredible attention to detail, consistency, continuity, and the fact that the more you dig into it for information, the more you'll be rewarded, right? Like, so
Yeah.
being rewarded for
Like a
being
lot of
huge
lore,
nerd.
a lot
Yeah.
of like side details.
Because like if they
technical.
mention a planet on the show that they've mentioned before, like it probably like it is intentional. They'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, that was the planet they went to on, you know, they know the specs
Yeah.
of the ship and like all this stuff. But like that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Is even before Infinity War, we were all like, we all knew Infinity Stones were a thing. Before
That's true. Well,
they-
that's because they've been all in all the movies, right? Or a lot
yeah,
of
but
them.
like that's actually like a pretty deep level of nerdiness.
That's true.
I mean, it's like reference culture. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you can reference the most obscure thing, then you're like the coolest
Yeah.
Trekkie in
Yeah,
the
you're the
room.
big-
Game of
biggest fan.
Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Well, not anymore because I'm cool. But,
Okay,
You've grown to be.
well,
cool.
and also the show hasn't been on for like 2 years.
Is that true?
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
I feel like the show was playing last year.
No.
I remember working at my old job, and people were like, "Did you see that new episode of Game of Thrones?" I was like, "No," because I don't watch that show.
I think you just worked with people who were a little bit out of the loop.
Whatever, man. We're not here to talk about Game of Thrones.
But that's I think it's
Yeah.
just the ability to know everything is something that a lot of people want.
yeah, that seems plausible.
Yeah, that's what I got.
That was your thesis.
Yeah.
All right, we did it, guys. We got the thesis out there. Do you want to start talking about the show?
Well, but
Or
I
the,
think
the movie we watched.
yeah, Wrath of Khan is pointed to as by many, and obviously there are a lot of different opinions, the best of the Star Trek movies. I think probably because it's the most accessible, because it involves the least weirdness. There is no time travel. There's no really just time travel. There's time travel in a lot of them.
Yeah, I know. In the next one, spoilers for Wrath of Khan. I know that in the next one they like search for Spock, and that's like the title of the movie.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know how that plays out, but I imagine it's complicated.
Yeah, man. If so, Spock dies at the end. Man, if he just died, how sick would that be?
That
like,
would've been
how
something.
much would you be like, dude? this movie has teeth. I just want people to kill. I just want.
Well, they
everyone
probably
in
thought it had
franchises to
teeth at
die.
the time, up until the next one.
Yeah,
came
but
out.
anything running long enough and that has fans to service, it becomes
That's true.
meaningless. Like in every comic book person has died
Oh
Yeah, that's
and
true.
come back like 100 times, and they've all had children, and they've all
Yep.
like all
That's
the
true.
stuff has happened to everyone.
Well, I mean, that's what when I was watching it, because this was the first time I've seen it. I was like, man, they killed Spock. That's really cool. And then
Yeah.
I realized the title is Star Trek 2, and I was like, oh no.
I mean, that's gonna be when in I don't know, like 40 years, when people are doing this exact podcast, this will be how they talk about Infinity War, where they'll be like,
This was boring.
they'll be like, I was like, oh man, they killed them, like that's awesome, and then it's like,
I mean, when you see them die in the new one, you don't go like, they're not coming back.
Yeah,
You know that all of them are coming back.
my immediate reaction was
but
like,
man,
oh,
if
okay.
they didn't, man,
Spoilers for the end of Infinity War, by the way. Sorry
Come
if you
on.
didn't see that.
come on,
I know several.
have you not
people-
seen a single YouTube thumbnail? Could this be the secret of the Infinity Gauntlet?
Mr. Stark? I don't feel so good. I've seen that meme like 30 times.
10 things you didn't know about Fortnite.
Oh yeah, I saw a video the other day that's like top 10 Fortnite streamers who have sworn.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Probably,
all of them, right?
yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't watch the video because. Shut up. Anyway, I thought that this movie was boring.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
still don't get how or why Spock died at the end.
He opened up the radiation thing because they had to.
That's what it was. It was radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I just want to point out that Scotty went in the radiation room with like full like outfit on that was supposed to protect him, and he came out and he was like really sick. And then Spock goes in, but he just takes Scotty's gloves and he puts those on like they're supposed to protect him somehow, but then he opens like the radiation vat and it's just like directly in his face.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
flies up in his face and it's green because
Yeah.
that's how.
And I-
Radiation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
radiation.
Goo.
and I just like I was like, why did he take the gloves? How
He's
is
not
that
like, I'm
helpful?
fine, but in 30 years I get like a malignant tumor. He's like,
Yeah. I should have watched this movie with subtitles because I didn't even know it was radiation. I was just like, oh, there's some space stuff that's
I mean,
killing him.
I think they're, again, whatever the opposite of to the movie's credit is. To the movie's detriment,
Yes.
it makes your eyes glaze over a lot when they talk
Yeah.
about the technobabble, and I think technobabble in like Star Wars I'm fine with because or more fine with because it's just world building, it's not essential. But in this and in Galaxy Quest and in Black Mirror, anything that parodies or apes the Star Trek formula, their solutions to problems are always technical.
Yeah.
It's always some clever thing that they do with their engines or shields, or we'll use the nebula to,
That's
you know,
true.
there's always like they figure out a solution. Every episode is figuring out a solution, and more often than not, it's technical, which, again, I think appeals to a type of very detail-oriented nerd.
Yeah.
Well, like literally each of these three things that we watched had some sort of like space cloud that they went through that was
Yeah.
dangerous, but that was the solution in order to get away.
It's true.
No, and they all have. I mean, it's a very formulaic show, right? And Star Trek was also
Yeah.
just on for so long that like,
Yeah, that it became a formula.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it became they realized this is what people love about it, so we can't,
Change
you know,
it.
not do that. Like I imagine, you know, I'd have to rewatch the Abrams movie, but I imagine there's a scene where he's like, "What if we redirect power to it's not that using the magnetic slingshot of the dying star to, you know, every episode
Yeah.
has one like."
Oh, the Abrams movies are like full of that, but they're also full of a bunch of like explosions and naked ladies, so
Well,
like
yeah.
it evens out.
Am I crazy for thinking you might need that?
No.
Oh. I don't think you need it.
Well, I mean, like the proverbial explosions and naked women.
Yeah, I mean like the big thing that I found with Wrath of Khan was that like it was boring. And I don't know, I feel like
Yeah.
having some like
Oh, no.
actually interesting like fights and
Like,
maybe explosions.
You know what? Abrams has that sword fight on like the mining platform
Yeah.
with Sulu.
Okay, but
That's like a great set piece. That's like I don't know. Maybe this had tension in it at the time. Like, it probably did. It just feels that the ships fighting in space,
So slow.
That's true.
it's like the hunt for Red October, but not trying to be.
I was about to like complain about like this Abrams ones because I remember there was like an action scene in whichever one Benedict Cumberbatch is in, and they're on top of like spaceships in a city, and they're just going at like light speed. And it's one of those, we're on a flying ship, jumping from one to the other, fighting. But that was more entertaining than any fight scene in this movie, so
Yeah.
that's true, I guess. You do need it to an extent.
Did you like the scene when Khan like picks up Chekhov by the scruff of his neck to show that he's like superhuman strong?
Oh, yeah.
But it just, because of the way they have to shoot it, it's like very weird, and it like it doesn't make any sound, and he just sort of lifts him up.
Yeah,
and,
there were several moments in this movie where I'm like, there should have been a soundbite there, or like something. Like there was something where somebody throws something and then it like hits the floor and doesn't make any noise.
It was like uncomfortable how silent this movie was.
It
at
was
some
very
points.
quiet.
Yeah, there should have been like way better sound design on this.
And not in like a thematic. You know, it's not that kind of thing.
no, it's not like silence that's like there on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just sort of there.
It's just sparse.
Yeah.
It's like they forgot to do like a soundtrack for some parts, and it's
Yeah.
just uncomfortable.
I agree. Can I talk about one aspect of this movie that I did like?
Sure.
And maybe that's just because I'm gross.
I have a few things that I like about this movie too. Like, it's not all.
I liked everything that had to do with the earworms.
Yeah, the earworms were great.
I like watching that happen. I was like, "Ooh, this is."
Earworms are great.
That was like really hard to watch them going into the ear.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it coming out of the ear was crazy to watch
Yeah.
too. I didn't expect that much blood. I mean, there wasn't like a ton, but I just didn't expect any.
I did like how obviously fake the ears were.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How waxy they were.
Oh.
Yeah. I liked all the kind of character stuff between the humans in the beginning, where it's like Kirk is one. I thought the whole Kobayashi Maru sequence is cool because it's like they all die off.
What's Kobayashi?
It's the test. It's a test that you take in Starfleet.
Oh, the simulation?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah,
now that's pretty well known.
Yeah, it's
because
from X-Men 3.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But I thought that was cool, and like if you were a casual moviegoer at the time and you were like, "What? That's insane." And I liked all the stuff with like between him and Bones, where he's like, "You're getting old, and here, have some glasses."
Which one's Bones?
The doctor. He's Carl Urban in the new ones.
Oh, that guy. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's like the weird skinny guy.
Doohan. That's his last name in real life, right?
Oh.
God darn it. Okay, cool.
But I thought that stuff was good. I thought that there was some good, like, military drama style stuff.
Like all that desert sequence when there's just the like army soldiers going
No,
through the desert.
I mean more just like when they're in Starfleet and like taking the ship out for like a test run. Like it feels very, you know, it feels like it's a world where not everything is, you know, you do day-to-day stuff in this world too, which
it feels lived in.
It can be boring, but is also huge at the time because what else was around that was like, yeah, let's portray a believable space world.
I did also appreciate the fact that this movie did change the status quo in that, like, Kirk's an admiral now, Spock's a captain, they're, like, training a new crew for the Enterprise.
Yeah, like, there was the girl in the seat in the opening scene.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of movies don't really try to do that. They're just kind of like, here's more of what you love.
Yeah, that's true.
But instead they're like, hey, your heroes are old. How do you feel about that?
That's cool. I always like that.
I'm really confused as to why Kirk had a kid in this movie. That blonde-haired, curly-haired guy?
The guy who's like, the military will always use scientists.
Like, he was working for Khan, right? And then he's like, Kirk's a bad guy.
No.
No?
There
was one point where he was like, we gotta kill Kirk. He's a bad guy.
Well, he just didn't like him because he saw him as like he's like the man.
Okay.
Which he is.
He is a man.
No, the man.
Oh, the man.
So, just to briefly explain the plot for Dan.
Please.
Yeah, just to be clear, Ben gets the plot.
Sure. So Dr. Marcus, the blonde lady,
yeah,
she's like working on the Genesis thing.
Yep.
blonde-haired kid is her kid,
Very old.
and
Very
He was
old
so
to still
old.
be.
it was
Right.
uncomfortable.
Like, he was like a full-grown adult. When it was like, that's your kid, I was like, oh, I feel like he should be way younger. But go on.
Yeah, and also the kid calls himself a doctor, so I don't know how old this kid's supposed to be, because, like, you got to be relatively old to be a doctor.
He looked 30.
He's 40.
And Kirk keep talking about things happening 15 years ago, so, like, I don't
Uh-huh.
know. But, so they're working on Genesis, and then Chekhov calls in, and he's like, Captain Kirk, Admiral Kirk,
Can you do the voice?
No. Told us that we need to take the Genesis from you. And so
believe
that's why
it's-
the kid's angry.
Told us that
Okay.
we needed to take the Genesis.
You could do the voice.
I just did.
Nice. Okay, so now I get that, I guess. I watched this movie last night to everybody listening, and I don't get it as much as I feel like I should. Or as much as Ben and Anya get it.
The one thing that I think is, again, probably like a classic thing that if you're a Star Trek fan, like, you would know. But, like, I feel like Shatner in this, I was surprised at how not hamming it up he was.
Yeah.
That's true.
He wasn't doing what the parody of his voice is, you
That's
know?
true.
And I imagine that's a thing that as he became more, kind of full of himself, he did more of a dramatic voice. But, like, it really wasn't it's like everybody has these ideas of, like, what Star Trek is like in their head, just because it, is everywhere in our society.
It's ingrained in our culture.
I was very prepared for the Shatner voice, and then a little disappointed that I
I
didn't
mean,
get it.
it poked through here and there, but for the most part, I thought he did a fine job. He did it.
I definitely expected this movie to be more cheesy than it was. I was expecting a lot more, like, goofy elements, and there kind of weren't.
I mean, I think that's why it's regarded to be the most
Okay.
accessible
'Cause
Star Trek movie, because the other ones are a little wacky.
I know, wacky. I know one of them, they save the whales.
They save a whale in.
Oh, it's just one?
I believe in San Francisco.
Oh, no. I watched a clip this morning of it, and it's just like, there's like these whales, and there's like a whaling ship, and they're like, quick, stop that whaling ship.
hell-
And then they save the whales and they just start glowing orange. And they're like, that's it. The whales are, and then the video ended. And I was like,
What a
well,
weird
great.
video.
Yeah, right? It was just like a clip of the scene.
It's very odd timing to cut out.
I know. I was like, oh, I'm about to find out what these are.
What
and
are
I've-
the whales?
Since then, I've been watching like 4 or 5 episodes of The Next Generation.
That's the Patrick Stewart one.
Yeah, and I actually like that. I mean, I'm not like a fan of it, but it was like something that I watched a lot if like I was sick or whatever and like not at school.
Okay.
And they're pretty good. Like, I think they have a high rate of having good ideas. But also there's so much that it's like they just have a lot of ideas. So of course some of them are good, but there was an episode where they get drunk from like a space alcohol molecule thing.
Sweet.
And they all get drunk, and like
Yeah.
that's the joke, but like drunkenness in the mind of the writers of that just means
Oh, no.
everybody's super like sexually attracted to each other and
Yeah.
all over each
Yeah.
other, except for
God.
Picard, because Picard is like
Asexual.
he's like a cool eunuch man, which like I don't want to maybe draw any comparisons between
You better not.
that behavior and maybe stereotypes about the fan base for the show.
Oh, no.
But glorifying a dude that's like, getting with people, that's actually not that cool.
I
You
don't
know what
need
I
that, of
like?
course.
I don't need that.
Now he does have that one episode where he marries a lady in like a simulation. They
But
have kids.
that's the one episode.
But that's
That's
the
the
one.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
But in comparison, there's his second in command is like, Riker is like a ladies' man.
So creepy.
Is this in the show still?
It's in Next Generation.
Okay,
LeVar
yeah.
Burton,
The new generation?
Will Wheaton.
Is that what Will Wheaton's from?
I mean, yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then just sort of
It's been around.
like, man, talk about coasting. like what has he done? How has he been a nerd icon? Like, I'm so mad.
He was in Stand By Me. That's what
that's
he's
fine.
known
That's,
from.
that's totally legit then.
Yeah,
but
right?
I mean, still a lot of coasting to be like an icon.
It just seems like he was on a bunch of TV shows.
It's like, now
that
here's
were,
how
like,
you play this
sci-fi.
French board game.
But yeah. Anything
Oh, look, my
else?
friend Felicia Day just popped in.
Who's that?
What are you talking about?
She's like a classic nerd actress. She's
They're
in, like, all the
homies. They're
I don't even recognize this person.
what are you?
Oh,
are you talking
she's in
about?
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
She's in all the nerd things.
I can see that. Yeah, these all do look like nerd things.
She's a good actress.
Oh, she's in the Annoying Orange series.
She's in the
God.
lead.
Was
No,
she in
she's
the
in the
league?
Guild.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she's in the league. That's
The
not a
League
nerd
with
show,
Jason
dude.
Mantzoukas.
Yeah. I don't know what else you got to say about this movie.
I probably would have loved it if I would have been a Trekkie.
Yeah, I feel that too. Like I would have probably maybe not like as into it as like dressing up as the characters.
I
and
would.
putting on ears.
I would have
You would've?
probably.
Okay, cool.
Probably.
I don't know if I would
I
do
dressed
that.
up for a Star Wars movie release
Really?
in my life. Yeah.
What did you dress up as? And what movie was
a
it for?
generic Jedi and for Revenge of the Sith.
That's
movie friend of the show, Revenge of the Sith.
Does it count if I wore a hat that has the Princess Leia ears on it to The Force Awakens?
So weird.
It's weird, but the thing is, it's like a practical hat because then those things are like earmuffs and they keep your ears really warm.
In the theater?
No, I just wore it to the movie because I
okay.
already had that hat. Does that count?
Mm.
I didn't have any.
I
was
don't
wearing
know.
a-
That's like the worst of both worlds.
It's just lazy.
I think I'm like officially the coolest person in this room.
I would say so. I would say
The
that's
coolest,
fair.
but at the cost of professionalism. Industry
Oh,
That's
professionalism.
true. We're
That's true.
professionals. But we only got here because we're so nerdy. And yeah, that's it.
And we don't want to talk about why we're actually community service.
Yeah, this was court
I
ordered.
hit a dog with my car.
Oh no.
It just got dark. Oh man, I can't think of anything
No, I
else
don't
to
have
say
a
about
car.
this movie.
It was 2 hours of just.
It reminded
Yeah.
me how much I love media properties that came from it.
Like what?
Like Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
It like, you know, gave me those vibes because there would be no Battlestar Galactica without Star Trek. And it just I'm like, that's a great show. You know, any great sort of sci-fi where there's more I don't want to say military, but more like anything with diplomacy, sci-fi with diplomacy.
Like you get out of the academy to go just
Sure.
fight in the.
Space War.
I was gonna say Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So are you saying that Starship Troopers would not be around if it weren't for Star Trek?
I mean, like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have no idea when Starship Troopers the book was written. So.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, well, but also, like, you know, you had Ray Bradbury and people like that. Like, he wrote, like, the Martian Chronicles, like, way before.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think the problem, at least I'm coming across with this movie, is just like, especially I'm sure with the series as well, it's like this was all so new and cool. That's why everyone loved it. But like as we're going to talk about now, it's not anymore.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
So it's like we're just watching the old bad version.
It's like when you
Of what we've already
when
seen.
you watch A New Hope, and you're like, there's a lot of shots of people swiveling in chairs
Yep.
angrily and being like, oh, I got that one. You should have seen how cool that looked.
Yeah, it's sort of like watching like the old Halloween movie, like the first one, and like it's just like, oh, I've seen this done like a million times because it just becomes so cliched at this point that this product is not revolutionary.
Kind of like some of the body horror we talked about. But I don't know.
Nah,
Body
all
horror
that
is pretty
hands up.
weird. But
That's
I think
too niche to like
That's
be
true.
done better now.
That's true.
Yeah.
And this is like Star Trek is maybe as mainstream of a niche thing as you can get.
Yeah, right?
Like it is a niche because I think you can just get infinitely into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so mainstream. Like everything. Like
It's one of those things where it's like I don't know how many casual fans there are of Star Trek, you know? It's like
probably
a huge amount.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I mean,
Just 'cause when I
how
think
many
of
how many seats do those movies fill?
Well, I know the last one didn't do so great.
Yeah, but it still made millions of dollars.
Okay, but that's also the new ones, not like Wrath of Khan. Like I bet, like I had never seen Wrath of Khan, but I saw like the new one in theaters. Just because it was a space action movie, it wasn't because it was Star Trek. You know what I'm saying?
I maybe think there would be no such thing as popular sci-fi without Star Trek. And I don't even like Star Trek that much.
Yeah, no.
But I just don't think we
You
would
still
have
have to
an
attribute-
audience for popular sci-fi, and I don't think we'd be familiar with the ideas in a way that can be expanded on now. Like now we can expand it because everybody gets the baseline.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a baseline. Like if somebody's like teleportation, we're like, okay, yeah, now we can do a teleportation story if you want. But before they'd be like teleportation, and we're like, what's that? So then you have to have something boring that explains it, and that's what Star Trek is.
Yeah, I mean that is why all the technical babble comes from,
Yeah.
because nobody knew how to do a sci-fi
Yeah.
thing yet, and they were like, well, we have to explain everything, because otherwise it'll just seem like space magic.
That's
I mean,
true.
that's true. I just think
Yeah.
it makes it harder to watch now.
Yeah, a
Can you imagine if like Star Wars did that?
bunch of techno babble.
If they were like lightsabers, it's made. There's a crystal that a beam, but it would be
Yeah, they
like
never
they're fighting,
explain
and
it.
like how like Luke beats the Emperor isn't by realizing that like, you know, isn't through like Vader coming back to the light side. It's Luke is like, well, if I overcharge my lightsaber
Yeah.
using the magnetic frequency of the Emperor's lightning,
Yeah, that's true.
and you're like, what? This isn't. We didn't learn anything today.
Well, I mean, like, Star Wars does do that. It's just in a bunch of books.
Which
It
is,
does that
which
in
is
the
way more
prequels.
acceptable in my mind because it's like,
Well, yeah,
you can
that's-
get into it if you want.
I feel like that is acceptable because that's like for the people who want to know like
Yeah.
the way more detailed lore of whatever universe they're trying to get into.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know what Deep Space Nine is.
What is that?
It's like a third series of Star Trek. There's like
Oh.
Star Trek, then there's TNG, and then there's Deep Space Nine.
Well, there's one that
Oh.
everyone hates that, like, had a lady captain.
It might have been that one.
I think it's this one because the top
Also,
billed
this-
person's a female.
But that's a great segue into our next piece of media that we want to talk
The
about.
Black Mirror episode?
Yeah.
All right. So, this is the Black Mirror episode where the guy what is the device he invents? It's like a brain virtual reality thing.
It's like an online game that you can hook up with little discs that you put on your temple.
Yeah.
It's like a.
But like, how does he have the mod where he just has like a whole Star Trek?
He has a mod where he has a whole story.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, he was like the one who created it, so I imagine modding it's relatively easy.
That's
for him.
true. And like, we never get to see what it's like for anybody else. We only get to see the Star
yeah,
Trek
we
side
don't
of
get
it.
to see the
That-
normal
yeah.
version of it.
We
I'm
get
more or
like
less just I don't know how to describe the normal version.
we get a really brief moment at the very end, where the people who were trapped in the simulation are out of it and are in the online version.
Oh yeah, with Aaron
right.
Paul.
He's like king of space.
Yeah,
And then-
Aaron Paul's
Aaron
in
Paul
it.
showed up at the end.
Yeah, because he's just a normal dude playing it. It's been so serious up until this point, but then they get out and he's just like, haha, my pizza rolls are done. Like, you know.
Yeah.
He blasts them and he's like, oh yeah, gotcha.
Science.
And say the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember first watching this episode and being really like unsettled immediately. Well, like every Black Mirror episode, you're just gonna be unsettled and you're gonna get upset. There's the one shot where he makes the guy be like his footstool.
Yeah.
And right at that moment, I was like, "Oh no, this
No,
is."
I think it's even before then. I think that's my favorite.
it is before then,
That's
but
my
it took me
favorite-
that long to
I think that's my
realize.
favorite thing that this entire thing does is it
Yeah, take that moment.
oh man.
Give us some dead air, Ben.
Sorry. It starts off, and also Galaxy Quest starts off in the exact
Yeah.
same way with the like
Yeah.
old
Old
black
footage.
bars, old footage.
Yep.
But even within the old footage, it's iconic, and then it just starts taking a turn in a way that at first isn't unlike the show.
Where you like with the kiss?
Yeah, and they're like, dude, our captain's so awesome, but when they're like, but it's like a little too much, and you know all that stuff, and then you start getting disturbed. But there is, I mean, especially in the show, there is such a cult of personality around the worship of the captain.
Yeah.
And also I think to a lesser extent like the worship of like procedure and like military protocol, but that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's
No.
not the.
Yeah.
That's not something that episode is trying to comment on. I don't
But they do like the same thing every time he gets out off of work, and then he goes home. He's like, "All right, another space mission where we do the same thing with the same." beats.
we tracked Zodak to this region. He's doing the voice, dude. I love.
You're doing the voice now.
I think it's so good. I love the little voice he throws on because it's totally different from when he's
just
in the
regular,
real world.
yeah. And he has hair.
Do we
in the
want
real
to?
world.
I feel like we haven't explained the premise of this. For
Okay, yeah, he's got a
anybody
virtual.
who hasn't seen it.
He's got a virtual reality thing, and
He's
goes.
like a developer. He's like
Yeah, he like invented
web
some
developer, or
big
he's a
virtual
game
reality
developer,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he has this game, and it's all lifelike, where he's the captain of like a Star Trek ship essentially, and then it's revealed that he's actually just like this guy who invented it, and that all the people on the ship, his crew, are like his coworkers and like people involved in his life who like pretty much don't like him. And the way he got them in there is he took a bit of their DNA and like scanned them in, right?
So like they are
themselves.
they
Like
are
their
real
conscious is in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Like those people were like in their office one day, and then they woke up in the game as like a
Yes.
separate
Yeah.
being. Yeah. And essentially, it's his way of like getting back at people.
It's his way of living out his power fantasy
Yeah.
as a dude that kind of takes a lot of L's in his day-to-day life.
Oh yeah, like he invented the thing, but his friend takes more credit.
Like the friend is a jerk.
Yeah,
in this
totally.
also. In the real world, I think in the simulation he's a little more humbled because he's just like
because he's in that simulation
Yeah,
for years,
but-
and he watches his kid die many times.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's like the saddest part I feel about the whole
Yeah.
episode is like the whole because he gets like the boss's lollipop from the kid was
I
left
forgot.
on the
I
desk.
completely forgot about that detail.
Yeah, that was scary.
I think my favorite part of that whole episode is when, is obviously the most effective thing and the thing a lot of people talk about is the scene where she's like not into it. The new person is like not into it.
Yeah, doesn't want to give him a kiss.
Yeah, and he like, well, one, I think the line that's so like unsettling is when he's like, the whole thing's really a lot better if you go along with it.
Yeah, and then everybody else is like, it gets easier if you
Because
just do
he's
it.
like, I don't know, that one, he lets the veil down for a second, and I don't know, it's like also like,
it's so creepy.
it's very creepy, and it's also like, I'm like a big fan of like role playing games and stuff like that, and it very much, it is like this, like, man, like this has the potential to be like a very toxic place.
I mean, part of the reason why I really liked it as well is it thanks. It has a lot of commentary on the fact that a lot of those types of people who would make that little pocket world, a lot of the stuff they go through is kind of their fault. Like, he gets walked all over, but he kind of lets himself get walked all over.
That's
People
true.
don't view him as a boss, not because they're bad people, but because at no point does he tell them what to do. At no point does he act like a boss.
Yeah, like there's the one scene where he's talking to like his employee, and he's like, "So we'll get that done by the end of the week," and he's like, "It's gonna take me longer than that," and he's like, "Well, I need it done by the end of the week," and he goes, "Well, it's gonna take longer," and then he just goes, "Okay."
Yeah, and like
Because he's just like watching the new girl, like,
Yeah.
and being like, oh man, she's talking to that dude from Westworld.
yeah, and like
Is
at
he
no.
also Westworld?
Yeah, the McPoyle guy.
Oh,
yeah,
Always
yeah.
Sunny. That's
Yeah.
all you actually had to say.
Yeah,
He's not known for that. He's known for Always Sunny.
he's probably more known for Westworld. at this point.
Really?
He's a main character on Westworld.
How big is Westworld compared to Always Sunny? Maybe.
I don't know actually.
Yeah, I feel like Always Sunny is like a pretty big and accessible show. That's not what we're talking about. Anya,
No.
go on.
Thank you.
Sorry.
But also like the way he treats women, like it's not their fault. He can't get any of them to pay attention to him.
What are you talking?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Somebody get just, who let her in?
Yeah, he's
All
just
I'm
a nice
saying-
guy.
Who makes a pocket dimension so he can torture people. It's fine. No, but like the fact that like at the very beginning we are built up to feel sympathy for this guy, and then towards the end of it you're like, no, you
No,
don't, you
I
don't
hate
get,
this guy.
you don't get to have sympathy. You're a bad person.
Yeah.
He takes away her face. which
Oh
is
my
pretty
God.
Oh my!
awesome.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that's definitely. I think that's way more disturbing than the kid because he's like,
That's like visually disturbing.
this sucks a lot for you, doesn't it? Like, and also I can have this just go on forever because it's all about. He's like, completely the master of not just life or death, because that's almost not scary, but like just reality and like everything, which I think also is maybe there's something to be said about there's a type of nerd that wants to control every detail, right?
And now, he asked her to submit. That's like the thing that he asked. He's like, will you submit? And I'm like, oh.
Like this dude, if he were not around in the 80s or in, you know, whatever, I guess it's set in modern day, but like this type of dude existed years and years ago. They just built model trains. You know what I mean? Like it's a type of person who's like,
that's so true.
I need to have a place where I control and know everything.
Is that what D&D was like? Is that who D&D was
I think
made
it is for people who
probably.
I mean, so like I have a type of D&D player that I really dislike, and I think it is that. It's the dungeon master that's like, this is my dungeon that I have made. I know everything about it. You can experience it if you so choose, but this is about me.
Are you guys done talking about D&D?
Sorry.
Sorry, that was meant to be played for laughs. You guys can carry on if you really want.
No. I think that's about as far as we want to go on that one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that all those points are right, and this guy is like a power-hungry monster.
Do you think that there is perhaps a commentary on this about gender dynamics in nerd culture?
Yeah.
I mean, there was literally a comment from...
I know, I was trying to say I would like to talk about this.
Yeah, no, totally. Like the whole kissing thing just in general is like about that.
But there's also the line where they're like, and we don't have genitals.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they don't have genitals in
which
this.
Is, I think, my favorite detail from the entire thing, because he doesn't. That's how simplistic and almost childlike his power fantasy is
like
that
they're just dolls.
Yeah, it's not even that, because it can't be anything messy, right? There can't be anything troubling or difficult to understand
Everything
or wrap your head around.
Clean.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Everything is cleaner than reality in a way that crosses over and becomes disturbing.
Yeah.
Which I think is how much of that episode is played.
Do they show like the bald area?
Yeah.
They do?
I don't
They
remember
do.
that. I watched this episode
That's
like a couple
pretty good.
months ago, so
I watched it last night, and they definitely did.
glad to hear it.
Some moments where they were slapping at it as well. It was
Really?
mildly uncomfortable.
I gotta rewatch this.
Yeah, but I think it's also interesting because, I mean, I haven't seen any of the original Star Trek, but from the bits of it I have seen, like, Kirk is, like, known as, like, a womanizer, but all he does is, like, dramatically kiss ladies.
He doesn't actually like do anything.
No, he doesn't
Yeah,
make
I feel
out
like
with
he
them.
probably has scenes where it fades out and it's implied he's with some alien.
Yeah, but, like,
Yeah.
compare that to what we've got now with the new movies where, like, they're just, like, straight up scenes where, like, he's in bed with some
That
ladies.
rules, by the way.
What?
What?
What rules?
What are we even talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for here.
I don't know. either.
Something that kind of freaks me out is that aren't they building that like immersive Star Wars park at Disney?
In Disney?
Yeah.
Of course
Oh.
they are, dude. It's gonna be right next to the Avatar one.
Yeah, but it's just like,
There's an Avatar part?
That's already out.
is it immersive? Is it, because I
yeah,
think
there's floating islands.
no, but I think the whole thing about this Star Wars one is that you're like a character.
Oh, jeez. And you're gonna like go on quests.
I
And
think
stuff?
the idea
Oh,
is that
God.
that's what I heard.
Just
somewhere.
make some roller coasters.
And I'm like,
throw some
dude, is that
lightsabers in the
not?
shop.
Is that not? Are you not gonna have things like this? You know, are you not gonna have that dude roll up and be like,
Yeah,
"This is
Yeah.
not perfect."
that's
just-
true.
That just sounds like an environment I don't want to be in.
Yeah, I can't wait to never.
I'll
go
probably do it, but hate it.
there. Oof.
I'll probably do it, and it'll be like, "This might be cool," and then be like, "I actually wish I hadn't."
Yeah,
done
like
that."
you like once you buy the ticket, you're like,
You look up how do I refund, and like it auto corrects, it fills in. It's like, how do I refund immersive Star Wars park ticket? I'm like, Google,
yeah.
you know me so
And there
well.
is no way. You just have to go
Yeah.
or Craigslist it. You want to talk about the ending in this episode? It gets kind of
Well, they do the thing where they're like they have an elaborate plan.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
They have to like use the certain thing to get
And
the certain thing.
the one thing I did like is there are scenes when they and the audience knows where they're lying to him, right?
Oh,
they're pretending like
yeah.
it's all fine, but
Those
it's
are
not.
so intense.
And those are very intense because we got the moment where we're real afraid of this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, I think it's a really good combination of him being, all powerful and really scary, but also like, yeah, dude, you're a person. Like, you're a ego driven dude. Like, get wrecked. Like, we can trick you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought that those scenes were just really good because it was like very tense.
Yeah, those scenes were definitely the most intense. I thought it was really intense when the girl has to break into his apartment to steal all the DNA things he has in his fridge.
Oh.
Yeah, like just all like used coffee cup, lollipop, things like that, and it's.
I wanted a scene with her where she actually looked at them because she doesn't. She's just like,
She
"What
just
am I
grabs them
doing?"
and goes.
then
Yeah,
she
that's-
grabs them and runs.
That's true.
And I wanted her to like look at the lollipop, be like, "Why is there a lollipop in a bag labeled
Yeah,
Tony?
why do I need this? Who told me to get this?
This doesn't seem like this should be in
She
somebody's
just pops
fridge."
it in her mouth. She's like, sweet.
Ugh.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more interesting if she was like the whole time like, "I getting catfished? Like, is somebody messing with me to break into this billionaire's house?" But there's one shot in this episode that I think is really creepy, and it's like, "Oh, I want to know what happens next, but it's probably better that we don't." And it's when the guy is just in the chair, like
Well-
in the thing stuck.
I think we do know what happens next because he can't get out.
Yeah.
And
He
right
just-
before everyone leaves, they mention that it's a 10-day break, that no one's coming into work for another 10 days.
Yeah, but aren't
because-
like the cops going to his house?
Why would they?
Did that not happen? Oops.
No.
Because she stole the things to launch an investigation.
gets-
I thought into this guy.
No,
that
she
not
will,
what
but
happens?
he gets. I mean, I think the implication is he gets ground controlled to Major Tom, in space, and will probably he can't like boot out, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, no,
stuck.
he's
he's
stuck.
just he's gonna
He's just gonna die.
decompose.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, like all Black Mirror episodes, it ends with a. Not only is this grim, but it's grim and very long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which they all.
This
you're
person's
like,
gonna be stuck doing this miserable thing forever.
You're like, this sucks, but it also sucks in a painful way forever. Like in
Yep.
an emotionally painful way forever.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it's the same because we don't feel bad for that guy. Not
No.
really.
That's true. I was happy that he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that he got his in the
And
end.
I'm actually glad Black Mirror had an episode with a villain who got
got
wrecked.
theirs
Instead of it just being like
worst case like
she's trapped in it now forever.
Yeah, like right. I kind of expected like
With the
him
dude from Get Out, and they're just
Yeah, I expected
riding
the episode
bikes.
to end being like he gets out of there and they're all stuck in there and he never returns and they're just stuck in the ship.
yeah, like that
That's
would be
what
a
I
Black Mirror.
expected.
That'd be a Black Mirror Black Mirror ending.
Yeah, that's true. But like always, they subvert expectations.
Except for not like always. Like a handful of times when it's really good.
That's
but
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like most Black Mirror episodes I watch, I'm like, I think of like the worst thing that could possibly happen, and then they somehow like top it. Like, in the
do we want to? I feel like there's some that we shouldn't spoil.
I don't really
But
want to talk
also,
about like specific Black Mirror episodes. But you brought up the one with Daniel Kaluuya from
That
Get
one's
Out.
the best.
I
That's
love
the
that
best
ep-
one.
That's the best episode.
I think so.
I
that
love
one
that
actually
episode.
I couldn't get it out of my head for like a solid week.
Yeah, I remember watching that and like being sick to my stomach.
Yeah,
for a while.
it really made me feel very not good.
Yeah.
And I also
Like
just
all
think
of
it's a masterful laying out of information over the course of
They're really good at doing
the
that.
episode where you're like, wait, what is the rule? What's going on here? I think it's like that thing, and then the payoff of all this stuff.
I mean, I've seen like 4 Black Mirror episodes, so.
Have you seen the one with the pig?
Is that like the very first
Yeah.
one? Yes.
Shout
that's
outs
one
to
of
my
the ones I've
man
seen.
David Cameron, by the way,
Yeah,
former prime minister.
they made that episode based on a true story.
Oh no.
Woohoo. Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this Black Mirror episode?
Yeah. So and I think this will tie us into Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
What were the things? I mean, obviously, it's such a Star Trek obvious aping, and both of these
Yeah.
are obvious. But what are the images and stuff that they took? What did they use to make it clear
Well,
like
just the room layout
Yeah.
itself. There's like the chair in the
Yeah,
center
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
spins.
And I mean,
guy
a
to
lot
the
of these
left,
are going to be really
to the
obvious
right.
things, but
Yeah.
I think that when they're filming it early on, there's also some sequences where like they get blasted with stuff, and the shot is just like angled shot, and they're all throwing themselves across the room.
Yeah, like
instead of
they're
actually,
falling. The
Yeah,
camera's just
yeah,
moving.
exactly,
That
like
happens a
stuff like
lot in
that.
Galaxy Quest.
them getting beamed down,
Yeah,
them being on
beaming.
like just like a generic like red rock desert
Deserty
planet that
planet.
it's
Yeah.
always that.
That's true. It is always that.
They escape through a space cloud of some sort. So like
You brought that up.
in Khan, it was like an actual space cloud.
Mm-hmm.
In this episode, it was like a meteor belt.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and in Galaxy Quest, it's like a minefield.
Yeah.
Of little
Also-
triangular mines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
And you can tell it's going to be important because they're like, we're going through the
Yeah, and then just
Karpatsu
close-ups
minefield.
the one male character of color is always the pilot. I don't know why that's a thing, but I noticed that across all three of these.
I don't think.
I noticed it in Galaxy Quest.
Across all of these.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if that's like across the entire board, but
Well,
Like-
so I think in
Sounds
Next
like it could be.
Generation, I mean it's LeVar Burton, but there's also Worf, who is
Worf?
who is
Spell
I was
that.
gonna say African American, but he's a Klingon,
yeah.
so
Dude.
he's neither of those things.
Yeah.
There are like just certain staples to this show.
And the Ferengi are obviously anti-Semitic.
The
The what?
There's a.
I'm excited. What?
Should I go
Get
off
into
on
it.
Should I that's
Get
okay?
into it, yeah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, they're a sneaky deal making.
This is in Star Trek.
race in Star Trek.
What,
yeah.
what are these called?
The Ferengi. Just look up the TV tropes page. Space Jews.
oh,
No. Oh, I just found something.
I
Remember
mean-
Watto and how he looks like an actual rabbi, and you're like, how did they get away with that?
Yeah.
I think in one thing he like wears a Hasidic hat.
Oh no. I just laughed when I looked at the Ferengi.
They don't really.
No,
look,
they're not supposed to be
they're just
stereotypical.
weird looking.
They are funny looking though. Like, look at that. That's so charming.
Oh no.
No,
Yeah.
but the whole thing is like they're cunning and love money and deal making.
And they're good with the economy.
Yeah,
They know how to
They run
invest.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
And like
Good credit.
the
The story of OJ.
oh,
That's you want to know how Ferengi own all the real estate in New York? Credit.
I'm really glad you got that.
there's also the like 1 to 2 female characters on the bridge trope where it just like they don't really have none of them have real jobs.
Oh yeah, I
Well, they're
repeat
all-
the things on the computer.
Yeah.
Police officers.
Yeah, they are.
They're all like, they're calling us like they're secretaries.
Yep.
Right? They're like, sorry, there's a call for you.
They
Like-
literally just relay information.
Yeah, which is why, no, in Battlestar Galactica, it's a woman as well. But she's great. She's like I mean, I guess they can be good characters, but they're still.
yeah.
They
I
still
mean,
like that. That's the lamest job on the bridge. Not
Oh, yeah.
close.
Yeah, that's true.
and like especially in this episode, there was a moment where the new girl was supposed to like relay a message, and the other woman who's been helping her is like, it's literally any button, just press a button.
Can we? I like that.
Yeah.
Can we go to that scene in Khan when the Vulcan captain like runs into the elevator and like stops it, and she's wearing like pajamas?
And both Bones and Kirk are like, your hair is different.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's not.
yeah.
And I'm like, is there supposed to be sexual tension here? Because it
Yeah.
seemed like it, but then it was just never
It was weird.
referenced again.
Yeah. I was like, is
That
this
was
gonna
weird.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Kirk being like,
A ladies' man.
Yeah.
Like trying to like woo her, but then there's like, oh, your hair's different, and that's sort
dude,
of it.
you gotta watch at least some Next Generation, if nothing else, than to see how one weird a quote unquote young Patrick Stewart looks, because he still
does look
looks
weird.
old.
He looks old.
just looks
He
young.
looks the same.
He looks just like a younger old guy. Like it's It's very weird. He looks
What
like
if he was, like,
he looks
born
like
like
Mr.
that?
Clean or something. Like it's
He's like a thinner Mr. Clean with like a more pointy.
like he is honestly glowing. Like his skin is really the biggest thing, but it's just so weird because he's still old and he's just wearing like those big
and he
pajamas.
talks like this.
But he's also just like a nerdy like French guy because he's just like, my name is Jean-Luc.
Is that his name in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wait, I thought his name was Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there it is.
He's always quoting like poetry and stuff because the writers of these shows always had to be like, we're smart.
The Raven Nevermore.
Yeah.
I did it, guys.
Yeah, that's definitely an episode of The Next Generation. Is called The Raven Nevermore. And I promise you, they meet Edgar Allan Poe in the holodeck. Like, not even close. I guarantee you that exists.
Well, something I love about Jean-Luc Picard is
Jean-Luc Picard?
I'm not doing that. Is he's French, but English is the Earth language now.
Well,
So even though he's French, he speaks English in a British accent.
I'm sure because of the type of lore this is, they have explained that there are like universal translating devices that everybody has. Like, I'm sure.
No, the explanation is literally English is like the language they speak on Earth now.
For realsies.
Yeah. That's what I have heard
That's
and
nuts,
been
dude.
told.
How
That's
did you
nuts
not know
because
this?
the thing about The Next Generation is that it sort of tries to be like woke, and like it actually kind of is. Like it is, as much as I think it's just easy to make fun of it because it's like there's a planet with people who are green and people who are red. Why isn't it crazy that they don't like each other over something like skin color? Looks at the camera. Like, it's heavy-handed, but like there are ones that are like pretty interesting. I feel like what Next Generation does that the original did a little less of is it's like, hey, instead of imagining alien technologies and locations, let's imagine alien societies, which I think are a little more interesting.
That is.
It's
more
like, what if there was a society where one of the genders had like no rights whatsoever, and like how do you explain to somebody that that's not cool when that's
All
to
they
them totally fine?
Yeah.
There's also the trope of the one non-human bridge member who's just a human with like something on their face.
Like a Groucho Marx glasses. I shot a Romulan in my pajamas.
But so like on the episode for Black Mirror, there's the blue Russian lady.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then
Who's the secretary, but he's just like, he went home and was like, she should be blue.
Make a blue.
yeah, no, I love it because she comments on it. She's like kind of racist when you think about it. Then there's Spock, and then Dr. Lazarus for Galaxy Quest.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I like that low budget. Like, we're just gonna put some like
Like,
stuff.
We're just gonna
Like,
paint you.
A
Yeah.
prosthetic
You're
that,
gonna
like,
be green.
if you get sweaty, will become visibly
It'll start to
detached
fall
in
off.
some places.
Well, something I love is so the Vulcans got those weird eyebrows, at least Spock does, but they didn't want to shave his actual eyebrows, so you can actually see at some points where they just put makeup over his
Really?
real eyebrows and drew the other ones on.
I wanted to text you when I started watching Wrath of Khan and just be like, dude, Leonard Nimoy's in this.
He's back.
Dude, Leonard Nimoy was in this? That's sick.
I love that guy.
For his novelty album.
What?
He has a novelty album.
Oh.
What is a novelty album?
Like, songs, music.
Well, that's an album.
Yeah, but like it's because it's him. Like, there's probably a
Oh.
song about that's like a parody, but it's about being
Okay.
Spock.
So it's like
Let me think of something really quick. Let me think of a pun. You guys keep talking.
That sounds
that sounds
not
awful.
good.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to watch that or listen to that.
I
What?
I would just listen and be like, I don't know why Leonard Nimoy is
Yeah.
singing right now.
There's like so many actors who do that. Like, didn't Jeff Goldblum just come out with a jazz album
Oh yeah.
that nobody cares about?
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
But he's
Jeff
such a
Goldblum.
meme.
God, I hate that he's a meme. I
Yeah.
want to never see another post on the internet that references Jeff Goldblum or Danny DeVito.
I don't want to see another post having Jeff Goldblum or Danny DeVito be referenced as daddy, because that seems to be the ongoing thing
Ew.
with them. They're like, oh, Jeff Goldblum is daddy. You guys seen
Why do you
that?
say it like that?
Because that's how the memes
I
are.
get what you're talking
Daddy.
about, but I don't know. I just think it's like Jeff Goldblum, lol, so random. You know?
Yeah. He's kooky.
He's a kooky old man.
He talks funny.
That's
And-
anti-Semitic.
Is it? Is Jeff Goldblum Jewish?
Come on.
Is it his last name? Is that?
Man, come on.
All right. You got me.
He also like
I just want to be clear to any listeners of WBTV that we're not, like, I don't know. We're not.
You're Jewish, Ben.
Yeah, but I don't want to say that because it's like, I don't know. But, like,
Guys,
you're
it's
like-
okay. I
we're
can
riffing
make
on-
these
yeah,
jokes.
cool, because otherwise it's like, it is pretty not cool if we're like, dude, the Ferengis are such Jews. Like, we're all just like, they're like, what?
Well, that's also not what you said. All right. Do you want to get into Galaxy Quest now?
Yeah,
Always.
we should.
It seems like a good call. I watched this movie twice this week. I watched it on,
Why?
Because when I watched it on Wednesday night, maybe a Tuesday night, I didn't like it much. I watched it and
you
I
watched
was,
it again because you didn't like it?
because I watched it and I was like, this movie, it's got. I liked the first 20 minutes a lot when they're on Earth, and then once he gets beamed into space, I immediately like checked out. I guess I watched it still, and I remembered everything that happened, but I didn't love it. And then I watched it again this morning, like in preparation for the show, because I'm like, I feel like I'm not gonna have a ton of talk about here. I watched it again, like with headphones on, and I enjoyed it. My favorite part, Sam Rockwell. Is that okay?
that's great.
Oh, I was gonna just let that one hang for a while. And
I was gonna see what you guys thought of Sam Rockwell.
I
in the
liked him.
movie.
I think the best part. I got real into this movie.
Have you seen it before?
Yes.
Both of you.
I
I
like-
take it you have because you're
I-
like it's my favorite.
I grew up on this. movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
cool.
parents. I definitely watched it multiple times with my parents.
Okay, yeah. I had never. I knew it was a Tim Allen space movie. I didn't even know
Oof.
it was about like Star Trek specifically.
Yeah.
Tim Allen's space movie sounds.
It's got
awful.
the dude. It's got Rainn Wilson is in it.
Yeah,
It's got the guy from Just Shoot Me, which is like the most underrated sitcom of like the 90s.
Who was he in the movie?
He was the main of those guys.
Oh, that guy. I liked that guy.
That wasn't that bad.
That was pretty good.
It was great.
Because I feel like that's the exact voice that the guy's putting on.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, what if I?
What if I talk
yeah,
like
sure,
this?
sure, run with it. I liked how. So what I said to, I was watching this with Anya and Teddy, and I said this to Teddy, and I don't think he got what I meant at all. But I turned to him and I'm like, this is Logan.
I don't get what you mean by that.
Allow me to explain.
Please
Elaborate.
do.
Logan has the let's run down the plot of Galaxy Quest first.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you why it's Logan.
Okay. Everybody doesn't like Tim Allen. He's like the hot shot.
He's
that
the
is, like,
William Shatner.
He's William
They
Shatner.
are
the rest of the cast. Too.
yeah,
like
and
Alan
they do
Rickman,
a
Spock.
Star Trek show.
Yes.
Like they do Star Trek.
I kind of just watch this movie and go like, this is about like Star Trek and Star Trek.
Specifically Star Trek.
Yes,
Yeah.
very specifically.
Yeah.
Go on.
Then they get beamed, or he's
Tim Allen
approached
gets
by
beamed
some
up,
weirdos, and he's like, they're like, we are aliens.
We got the limousine.
We need your help. And then he's like, oh sure, yeah, aliens. Okay, whatever you say, you nerds.
Yep.
Like you weird nerds. I don't appreciate my lot in life.
Yeah.
I hope that no events change my perspective.
There are
And
like
then-
so many things in this movie where it's like Alan Rickman's like, I hate saying the line. I
Yeah,
hate
yeah.
saying the
He has,
line.
he has,
don't
he
say
has
the
his
line.
live long and prosper line,
Yeah.
which he has it, and he's sick of saying it. He's sick of being like a one-hit wonder. He's
Yep.
like a real theater actor. Is like
Yeah,
kinda
he's like, wow, how did I get here?
yeah, and they all are like, we don't like this, this one guy because he's a jerk and he's full of himself. And
Yeah,
then,
everybody hates Tim Allen.
but then he comes back and he's like, these guys are real aliens that really need our help, and they're all like, dude, you gotta like move on. But then they go to space.
Yep.
They end up being needed by these real aliens who saw the equivalent of Star Trek and believe it to be like
Yeah.
historical documents.
Yeah, they think it's all historical documents, and they replicate everything in their ship, everything about
Yeah.
their society, in the way they saw it in Galaxy
So
Quest.
they're like, we need you now, these heroes, to save us and do this thing.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, because
They're just actors.
They're just actors.
Yeah.
Which I think led to some moments that were, one, poignant. I will actually say poignant.
Okay.
And two, kind of legit skewerings of pop culture.
Totally. I mean, the whole time Sigourney Weaver's like, I just say what the computer says. I don't have any actual dialogue. Because remember, Leonard Nimoy's like, or not, Alan Rickman is like...
I mean...
yeah. He's just like, oh, I hate this. I'm not like a real actor or anything. She's like, at least you have a character and like all that stuff.
I mean, another level. When I think the scene that's the most both of those is when the bad guy, the space bad, because they're all going through this and still for a long time they are like, this is crazy. Like, this is so much fun. This is like a fun romp.
Yeah, what a zany adventure.
Yeah, like we get to and we get to do our jobs for real. So he's like, thrusters to lots and
Mark IV.
Yeah, they
Red
don't know what they're
Cannon.
doing.
Yeah.
But it kind of has these scenes where it's like, oh, but this is real.
Where he holds up the head.
He holds up the head, and the scene when this is close to the end, and I think it's the best scene in the entire thing, is when he is torturing the main
guy who
the main guy,
The
and
captain.
he's like. The bad guy finds out that it's all an act, and he's like, explain to them what you are.
You've done more damage than I could ever have.
And then he explains to this dude who idolizes him, he's like, this isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, so it's a lie? And he's like, yeah, we
do this
lie
for pretend.
For fun.
And then he goes, why?
And I'm like, me sitting there, I'm like, I don't have an answer for you.
Tim Allen's just like, it's hard to explain.
I'm like, I don't have an answer. Like,
we pretend to entertain.
I'm like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Like,
Why do I like things?
All media on blast right now. Like,
why am I enjoying this movie? Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that's
that.
That's a painful scene.
That's true. Explaining to somebody who is completely unaware of like entertainment, just like what it is.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
And it's and I mean also, again, I don't want to cast Star Trek fans in a negative light, but there are people who get really into it, right? And that's all their stuff, and they look up to these people, and it's all about capturing every detail of the Enterprise exactly, and it's not real.
Yeah.
And it would be painful for them to confront that potentially.
Yeah, it's like real to them.
I wonder if there's an element of that in the portrayal of the alien race. I don't know.
Kinda.
Well, I mean, there literally are Star Trek nerds as characters in this movie.
Yeah, like Justin Long.
Yes, but
Yeah.
those are like the heroes. Those are the counterpoint, the opposite of Matt Damon guy in.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. But there is the moment where he's talking to him on the little communicator. It's like, I need your help. And he's like, I just want to say, I know it's not real, because like Tim Allen yelled at him earlier.
Yep.
He's like, it's just a TV show, because he had his moment of anger. And
Character flaw.
and Tim Allen is like, no, it is real. And like Justin Long is like, I knew it. I knew it was
Immediately,
real.
turns a dime and is like, I know it is.
Yeah. So like, there are fans out there who have all the blueprints on their computers who are
totally.
like, this is real.
I
making the
have
models.
I have books with like the layout of the Galactic Senate and like.
Wow.
Nice.
Exactly. That's not even from one of the good ones.
Yeah,
Like,
come on, dude.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I have all the Star Wars essential guides to things.
That's cool.
They are not essential.
No, they're
I'm
not.
just gonna throw that one out there right now.
Again, somehow I'm the coolest person in this room.
I don't think it's like somehow. I think it's just like, yeah, that's kind of how it is.
But and yet you're here, and yet you're the
you're
first.
here talking
you were
with us.
You were the first guest star.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because I like you both so much.
It was. You're gonna be in the esteemed company of Joe Tivy and no one else.
But continuing
Shout outs
on,
to people's last names also.
Continuing on with plot, because we've kind of lost that.
So then
what's the quest?
in the end, they kind of fall into their roles and begin to believe them, and we see the value in, even if you don't believe it yourself, the value of this, I think, comes to a head in the scene when Alan Rickman does say his line.
That's kind of my favorite scene in the movie.
He says it, but
Yeah.
from a genuine place in a genuine context, and you
Yep.
feel it, and you're like, oh man, like, and I wonder how much that's like, yeah, it's made up. Yeah, it's not, but it means a lot to people.
Yeah, it means a lot to like that one guy.
It means a lot to
Because remember
people.
that guy like almost says it, and Alan Rickman goes, "Stop!
He's like,
don't say it. You can't say
it.
that." Yep. Yes. Let's do an Alan Rickman impression.
Yippee-ki-yay.
That one's a little weaker.
That one is not actually.
Okay.
I thought it was all right. If that helps.
It's fine. It's me, Tim Allen. Just doing an Obama and being like,
I am Tim Allen.
it's me, Sigourney Weaver.
Weaver.
But the movie ends with them like crash landing on Earth. Everyone's super excited because there's like a convention for Galaxy Quest going
Yeah.
That's a little much.
Yeah, the ending was a bit.
Yeah, and then it's like you get some like credits for the new show of Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
That they're
Yeah,
doing,
that was. I like that too. That was great.
where just like
but,
everyone is a big happy
But
family.
the turn, the way that he solves his problem is by doing the technical.
Well, yeah, he gets the
workaround.
nerd.
But it's actually not, right? Because that is the solution, but really the solution from like the writing perspective is for him to address his flaw, right? It's for him to be humble and be like, you know what? Yeah, this is all fake, and this is all. You can be as cynical as you want, but some people really care about this. And so him reaching out to Justin Long and his
Yep.
other nerd crew is, hey, but like this can.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You're in charge. Yeah, because he was supposed to be the willing
And then they
chatter.
figure out the nerdy
Yeah.
solution.
Exactly.
yeah.
I want to talk about some things I didn't love about this movie now.
Can I talk about why it's Logan real quick?
Oh my god, yeah. Go back to that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, right?
I never forgot that. So it's Logan because the whole time they're like, we need your help, person. You were in all the stories. You were in all the stories, right?
Oh, no.
And Tim Allen's like, listen, it's not real.
It's not me.
I'm not that
Yeah.
guy. Like, none of this is real. This is ugly, right? It's not what you think it is. It's ugly, and it's not glamorous, and it's not the way you want it to be. And you're go get someone else's help.
Yeah. I'm a grouchy old
I'm
man.
grouchy. But then it is, so it breaks down the myth.
Yep.
It totally deconstructs the myth. But then it builds it back up to be like, even if it's not real, it's valuable, right?
Yep.
And that's the scene in Logan when all the kids are snipping his beard to be like,
All right, yeah,
like
to look like
classic
Wolverine,
comic book
yeah.
Wolverine. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you believe in this yourself. Like, it means something to other people. And then at the end is a celebration of the trope that it deconstructed. And that's why this movie's Logan.
I would have never made that connection. Good job.
Thank
so if Logan is based off of Galaxy Quest, that
Which
means
it
it's
is,
also
yes.
based off of Star Trek. So should
whoa.
You see the
Oh,
trailer
that's
for
full
Galaxy?
circle.
You see the trailer for Galaxy Quest, and it's just like, I hurt myself.
Tim Allen looks up with like scars all over his
Oh,
face.
no.
The rest of this episode should just consist of us taking turns doing a Tim Allen grunt.
Bump, 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 bump.
Is that the Home Improvement? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
You got it.
Yeah.
I've never seen a single episode of
You've
Home
never seen-
Improvement.
dude. That was on after the George Lopez show.
I haven't watched that either. I haven't watched that either, and I know that's like a classic touchstone of people our age, is being like, oh, the George Lopez theme song playing. And I'm like,
Oh.
sorry that I'm a film aficionado, but when I hear that song, I associate it with Dazed and Confused.
You should be associating with Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, because that's where it was originally used. Bucko.
Can we do a Cheech and Chong episode? They don't have movies, right? It's
They
like,
do have movies. Up in Smoke is a movie.
I guess I was thinking they were mostly known for their albums, which is
Their
also
albums and their
crazy.
stand-up, yeah.
It's crazy that there were like Cheech and Chong albums.
Yeah, let's not do an episode about Cheech and Chong. That would be interesting, though.
I remember
Now that
I
I'm
had a
thinking
kid's
about it.
book that was like written by Cheech Marin, and it was actually like quite touching.
Oh, Cheech Marin, star of Spy Kids.
I mean, it's really an ensemble.
That's true.
I wouldn't say that there's a star.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, what didn't you like about Galaxy Quest?
Like plot conveniences. Like, I know I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief, and I'm okay with that. But like, there was a scene where they had a lot of trouble beaming him up from the little alien planet, getting the stone, and they're like, oh, they teleport up the pig thing, and it comes up all deformed.
Yeah.
And then he teleports up, and he's fine, and that's because that the machine was designed for just humans and their structure. But then they teleport the rock guy, no problem.
That's true.
What would a rock eye look like inside out?
Broken,
It's the same.
shattered.
You wouldn't tell.
But
Couldn't
like
tell.
it.
I guess then it would explode, going by the logic of the pig.
Yeah, it
nonsense.
would
But I think the
explode.
pig exploded because its organs had like gases and things. I don't think a rock would explode if it were turned inside out. That just doesn't make any sense.
But it wasn't at all dismembered. It was just like the rock thing teleported and started killing baddies.
I mean, my perception, and again, I know this movie so well that like I could just like listen to it and picture it exactly in my mind about what's going on. But my perception of that was always like it was. Oh, I can't remember his name, which is sort of
Which one?
disproving what I just said.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Again, why do they always have one anti-Semitic
wanna-
alien?
I
in
wanna
this?
talk about
like in
Tony
in the
Shalhoub.
other ones they have Ferengi. In this one they have whatever a Tony Shalhoub is, but it's a little anti-Semitic.
Let's hold off on Tony Shalhoub because I got a lot to say about him.
Okay. But my perception of that moment was always it was Tony Shalhoub like believing in himself and actually moving his hands correctly, like
Yeah.
with the guy who was the pilot,
That's
practicing
fair.
and like
Okay.
weaving through the mines. Like I don't know. I hear your point.
I hear your point too. I get what you're saying. I don't buy it though.
And he's
That's
like, if
fine.
you ever marry my daughter and become a comedian, there's
That's Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
yeah, but it's him,
Yeah.
same guy,
What is this?
Good
Tony
reference.
Shalhoub,
What else is he in that I'm not getting?
Monk.
Yeah, I've never seen that show.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
It's a Hulu original. It won
It's
a lot
Amazon.
of awards. It's
It's
an
a
Amazon
Hulu
original.
Oh, Amazon original?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like actually really good.
Won a bunch of awards.
I'll check it out.
You won't, but that's fine.
Thanks for having my back there. So Tony Shalhoub in this movie is wild. I thought the entire time it was going to be revealed at the end that he was an alien all along. No, he's just crazy. He's just
very
weird.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, like, when they all get teleported, they're all, like, shook. And they're, like, standing still, like, oh, my God, we just got teleported into space. Then he shows up and he's like, why are they acting so weird? And Tim Allen's like, I don't know. And then there's, like, other scenes where he falls in love with the alien lady and then is into the tentacles and the alien stuff.
Yeah. And the security guy is just like screaming.
Yeah. Sam Rockwell's just like, oh no. Oh, God.
I liked the scene with Sam Rockwell when he is like listening to his music in the police station, so he doesn't know when the firebomb gets thrown.
Oh my
in the
God.
window. And then the police station is burning down, but he doesn't know because he's like listening to his like Walkman or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, then he's kind of burned
He
up.
gets burnt up.
Yeah,
He
jumps out the window.
He throws that twitchy guy from Get out the window. Who's that guy?
I don't know his name, but I do know who
That
you're talking
twitchy-
about. The twitchy,
I love him.
greasy
He's
guy.
great.
He's greasy.
He's always that character.
He's such a
but
slime
he's
ball.
awesome. Corey Feldman. Yeah, Corey Feldman was great in Get Out.
That was a bunch of references, just sort of rapid
Yeah,
fire
that
right
was
there.
that was a.
He was talking about 3 Billboards because Sam Rockwell is now known because of that movie, like amongst more
amongst
people.
others.
I've known about Sam Rockwell since
I think we all have.
Moon.
Oh,
I've
not since Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
No, is that the one where shovels come up and hit them in the face?
Yeah. Well,
okay,
they're
I've seen
not
that
shovels,
movie.
but yeah.
Sure, I've seen that movie once when I was a kid.
I watched it recently. Great. Actually, they do a great job filming something that I would have considered "quote unquote" unfilmable.
I don't know.
What would that be?
Just reality bending stuff and
Oh, okay.
weirdness.
Gotcha.
They have one thing where it's all like yarn animation because they like warp through reality and they're all like yarn world.
That's
I'm
interesting.
like, yeah, that's great.
I'd give
That's
it
awesome.
like an 85.
That's
That's
good.
that's a very good grade. You really like that movie, Anya?
Okay, fine.
Anya also just gets better grades.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Because if you grade it on like the American grading system, an 85 is like that's a B. But like if you grade it on like out of a 10 scale, 85 is really good. If 5 is the middle and not 75, then
I would think by my tone you would understand it was on a scale of 100.
I was kidding. That's why I was like, you really like this movie. I really liked every moment where Sam Rockwell was just like, I'm the side character. I'm going to die. And they're like, no, you're not. And he's like, what's my last name? And all of them are just like, I don't know. You're not dying.
I wonder how much, because that's a very weirdly specific thing that also is very well known. The whole, like, there's a red shirt that dies in Star Trek.
That's not just Star Trek, though. That's like a lot of things.
But I mean, like the red shirt. Like
that's like in Star Trek.
Calling them red shirts and being like, oh, there's one dude who is gonna like. How much stuff do you think is in our culture not because you watched Star Trek, you know about it not because you watched Star Trek, but because it's parodied in everything. Because there's a comic strip that references it. Because there's a Family Guy that mentions it. Because there's a Simpsons a South Park that everything has their homages to Star Trek. So how much of it comes from because I feel like not that many people our age are really into Star Trek.
Yeah.
But we all know this stuff just because it filters down through everything.
That's true.
And so we know, like, niche stuff. Like that there's always, if you notice, the dude in the red shirt who you don't know the name of is the guy who always... That's like a writing thing. That's a thing about how Star Trek is written that everyone knows.
It's just like tropes and cliches that are just known. And that's what I kind of liked about him and Sigourney Weaver is that the whole time they're kind of just pointing that out like the entire time. I mean, everybody is, but them the most, especially when he's talking to Monk and he's like, and his Sam Rockwell's character arc happens and he's like, if I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna die a coward like how I usually do. I'm gonna die a hero. And then Monk just goes like, what if you were just like the plucky comic relief? And that's all he was throughout this entire movie. And I was like, oh, that was really funny. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I like that he's like a big fan of the show.
Yeah, he's like a huge fan of the show, but then like also tries to include himself.
Yeah, I don't really, that's not really me.
He is also a slime ball because like in the opening scene is like him like, oh, I'm running the Star Trek convention. I was in one episode. And then like he includes himself on the table. And then when they're all going to the alien planet, like as a group, he's like blocking the way of some girl who's trying to get by, and she's like, get out of my way. And I forget what he says, but it's like pretty creepy.
I don't remember that at all.
It's very quick.
It's like, come over here and be my footstool for a second.
It made me think that there must have
been... It's me, Matt Damon guy.
Oh no.
It made me think that there must have been a deleted scene.
Right.
But I only just noticed that during this viewing, where I was like, what is he?
What is he doing? He was just like blocking her way. She's just like holding something and trying to like get through.
Yeah, where she was like I don't remember what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, no, I said no, and he was like, wait, what? And then
he's like, but did you mean it or something like that?
He's like, they don't. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that there's like that one instance where you're like, oh god, he's a real creep, and then the rest of the movie you're like, aha, he's funny.
I feel like Star Trek's portrayal of women is sexist in a very specific way, where it's less sexist, like it's less of you're just a woman, like you can't do that, and more the female characters are written as so caricatures of what a dude thinks a woman thinks and talks and acts like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's like it's I mean, that's the same concept that created like the miniskirt uniform that they always wear.
Exactly.
It's like you were on a military vessel.
Yeah.
You were wearing heels and a mini skirt and real big earrings.
And your hair's all
But
done.
we can't have gay guys in the army because that would be distracting.
Yeah.
Don't ask, don't tell.
No, but then what if they hit on you?
That's a good point.
That's
because
scary.
there's no sexual tension in Starfleet. In Next Generation, and I think there's one in the original where they also get drunk. Such a stupid plot conceit. There's so many stupid episode concepts.
Yeah, it's like Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it's just there's so many episodes that some of them are like, what an awesome idea. And there are a lot that's just, what a thin, stupid idea. They all get drunk. and it's so stupid. And the way that is that the women are like all over they're throwing themselves at the men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's just like, come on, you couldn't do this in any other way. Like any other.
Well, what I do appreciate about Galaxy Quest is it points out that trope without doing it. Like the way they treat Sigourney Weaver is like not at all sexist. Like she wears the same uniform as the men does. She does her best to like fit her role, and while that role is not great, she still does her best to do it and helps out with the team. The female alien.
Her clothes kind of start falling off.
Her clothes really start falling off at the end there. It's like very revealing.
Which is not necessarily an issue.
I mean,
Sigourney Weaver.
I think they did it for a reason, right? They couldn't just be like, because they were making fun of the whole time, and she was like, "Oh, the only article I get is 6 paragraphs about how my boobs fit into my uniform," and it's like, and then in the end, they're like,
a lot of people might say that they're afraid to, love an older woman. But
give the mic back to Anya.
Not me.
She has to say something.
Not me. Sigourney, talk to me. Okay. Ever since I saw you in Holes.
No. But there is, on that note, there is a deleted scene.
Have you seen these deleted scenes?
There's a deleted scene where Dan Aykroyd dresses up in a
Stop. Wait, did you like that thing I sent you?
Oh my god.
We'll talk about that later. Okay. All right, go on, Anya.
There is a deleted scene where they're in like the room where they're trying to shut down the reactor by hitting the blue button that like stops at 1 second.
I liked that. Yeah.
But before they can hit it, there's a scene where 2 of the evil alien dudes, like, come down, and she's like, "It's okay, I'm gonna distract them." She, like, starts to, like, undress a little bit. Oh. It's really weird.
I'm kind of glad that got cut.
Yeah, no.
That sends the wrong message.
But that's the main reason why, like, towards the end, like, her shirt is just, like, open, and you can see her bra. It's
okay.
I'm guessing they watched that scene and were like, "This is not good," and got rid of it. But
this might be the thing we're trying to make fun of.
Yeah. And then they get like crushed by those crusher things, and like that's how they that's how they die.
Oh yeah, and the whole time during that sequence, she's just like, "Whoever wrote this episode's the worst."
Yeah.
I love that.
And also the way the female alien is treated is like she's not weirdly sexualized at all. Like
the one who's in love with Monk.
Yeah,
no, that is. I mean,
well, she seems real like into Monk.
Doesn't she like lick his face?
Yeah, she does.
Well, I mean, in the sense where like it's her choice.
That's true. It's not like Monk is just like coming on to her.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the moment where they finally kiss, she like flings herself at him, not because he's like, "Come here and let me kiss your face."
Yeah,
that was awful. I'm so sorry,
dude. Don't worry. This chair the whole time,
and it was awful,
dude. This chair the whole time has been like, I can't wait to listen to this and then be like, man, I can't wait to not use this chair again.
I just think that the commentary about movies being lies was
yeah. All right, I have an idea.
You're like, okay,
let's adopt a child and then show him a bunch of movies and be like, this all happened, and then one day break it to them that that's all not true, and we'll see how they react. Will it be like this movie?
That's 100% something my brothers have already conceived of and wanted to do.
That happened to me, but with the film.
Oh no!
I thought I would think of something funny while I was saying that sentence, but I got nothing.
Okay, so this didn't actually happen to you. You're just lying.
No, but like, what would be?
You're just pretending.
What would be like a funny movie?
I could think of like 6 right now, but it wouldn't be funny if I was just like a war movie like Platoon or Apocalypse Now.
Actually, that would have been really funny.
Yeah,
that would have been a really good bit. Be like, yeah, dude, I grew up thinking the Hurt Locker was like real, and it's like it could be. Like, it doesn't really change your life.
It's not real.
Dude, I grew up thinking that Clint Eastwood movie where he uses the real people from the terror attack. You know what I'm talking about?
Where they're like
1517
310
Paris?
to Yuma.
Yeah.
Yo, 310 to Yuma is an incredible movie.
Is that Clint Eastwood?
I think in the original. In the remake, it's not. In the remake, it's Christian Bale and...
Oh, it's directed by James Mangold. That's who did it. You know,
yeah,
Logan?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, this is the movie he based off.
You heard about
Galaxy
this Star Wars show with the directors, like how it's Jon Favreau and like Taika Waititi is directing some episodes. What is your problem, by the way, Dan? Don't you sigh.
I don't need more Star Wars TV show.
But what if it's good?
Fine.
You don't have to watch it.
That's true. I don't watch it, but I have to hear about it all the time.
Well, you can be one of those cool people who's like, well, I don't really care that much about Star Wars.
I don't care enough to watch the TV show.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's cool to not care about things now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always been cool.
Welcome
to
to
not care.
Gen Z, baby.
Yeah, is that what we are?
Dude, I don't know.
I think I am actually a millennial by like the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you ask. There's some people who say millennial stops at 2000. There's some people who say
Maybe
stops
we
at
shouldn't just like talk
1997.
about when our birthdays are.
My birthday is September 11th, 1997.
Yeah, that's a rough one though.
Yeah, see, that's
That
one you can
sucks.
talk about.
That sucks.
Oh, I never knew that about you. Ooh.
Well,
that's
now
rough.
you know.
Yeah, I knew that. We've talked about that, I feel like.
I mean, it has to have come up at least once, right?
That sucks though. That's like you got so upstaged.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I mean, it doesn't suck that bad. I never liked having a birthday party because I don't like it when parties are centered around me. So it kind of worked out.
Nice.
Maybe that's because of that, though. This is the deep dive.
So, are there any other things you didn't like about Galaxy Quest, Dan?
I mean, there are some, but I can't think of them right now because I got so distracted.
That's fine. I mean, I just straight up love this movie with all of my heart.
I like how the entire time Alan Rickman's head thing stays intact, except for in the very end when there's just strips of blonde and
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
like real out of it because he's
His
just
hair is
fighting
coming
people.
out.
Yeah.
Justin Long. Who else is there anybody else who like makes an appearance in this that we're forgetting about?
Oh, we mentioned Rainn Wilson. Right, yeah.
No.
Not that I can think of.
There's the guy who plays Dwight in The Office.
Yeah,
That's
Rainn
Rainn
Wilson.
Wilson.
Oh, really? I don't
Yeah.
know names at all.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, so remember when the nerds walk up to the table and Tim Allen's like, "It's just a show. There's no such thing as the ship," you know?
Yeah, I don't know why he sounds like that.
Yeah, he sounds like the
Why is
aliens.
he Ray Romano?
Anyway, one of the guys standing with Justin Long is a tall, skinny guy. And
George Lucas.
And he's skinny.
Yeah, sorry, you didn't specify that his neck was like a
Yeah,
bullfrog mating.
Oh.
No, but yeah, the tall, skinny guy next to Justin Long is also the tall, skinny guy in another Justin Long movie called Accepted.
I thought you were gonna say Bruce Willis.
What was... that fourth
You're
Die
like
Hard movie?
Justin Long and Bruce Willis. They were never side by side. Oh.
I love the aliens specifically. I love
Which ones?
the like fan alien,
Yeah, okay,
the fanboy.
cool.
I love the way they move. I love the way they
Yeah,
laugh.
the way they clap
Yeah,
is
the way
so
they clap.
weird.
Well, I love it so much because they only look human because they think like humans are the pinnacle, so they like have these like modifiers.
yeah.
They actually look like weird octopi people
Then why are they all white?
because pretty much everybody on that show is white,
Yeah, that's fair.
excluding the pilot.
I'm just saying, kind of messed up. Either aliens or writers of Galaxy Quest. If they're like, we're making ourselves to look like you, why are they all white?
Answer us.
Answer us. Tweet at Rainn Wilson. You guys say, why were the aliens in Galaxy Quest all white if they were supposed to look like a human to be more familiar? Why were they all white? You, Rainn Wilson, are on the line for this.
They're all like really pale white too.
Yeah, they're
And
like
then go ahead and tag VT Film Essentials.
they all
And just baffle everyone. No one knows what's going on.
they also all kind of have like this Spock haircut.
You okay? It backfires. Rainn Wilson ends up going on VT Film Essentials. We're like, wait, no.
Yeah, VT Film Essentials like, I don't remember talking about Rainn Wilson, but come on.
But back to the aliens, I don't know. I like it because it points out again the trope that like all aliens are Star Trek are just people, but they've got like
Yeah.
a thing.
They're just like a little quirk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they gotta like they're like a primary color or they've got a thing on their face.
There was an episode, I think it's actually way lower effort than even that. There was an episode of Next Generation I was watching where the aliens are just human beings, as in they just are
Yeah.
humans. They're just all played by African American actors and wear like old timey, like old
Yes.
like Muslim African garb, like not like dashikis and stuff, but like more like Songhai and
Yeah,
like
I remember seeing part of this
Burberry
episode.
kind of outfits.
That
And
sounds
it's just
insensitive.
like, but they're alien,
Well, they're like, it's like a planet, and
or are they like scattered humans?
no, they're aliens, and they've got like a warring culture. Like at one point, their like chieftain is like,
I don't like that.
I want this female that's on your crew.
Cut the mic.
She's-
Cut the mic.
like he's like, she's gonna be my bride, and she's gotta fight my other bride in like a battle. Here's some like African based.
This is
like,
Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the woke Star Trek too.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
the-
next
Well,
Well,
generation.
because the episode was actually it was about like toxic masculinity.
Yeah, but they chose a really not good way to address it.
It may have just not been conveyed very well.
It was toxic masculinity mixed up with like African culture.
Oh God.
And it was deeply uncomfortable. And also for whatever reason the female crew member that like the chieftain wants for his bride like agrees to it all.
Well,
Sweet.
it's weird. Well, she's hardcore. She's cool. She
I don't remember who it is at all.
she agrees to it, but she doesn't get. Her name is like Lieutenant Yas or something. Yas. Like Yas Queen.
Oh man.
And she's like the security, because all the TNG characters are supposed to be like a little more like, like this woman is head of security, and like this
This person has this purpose.
LeVar Burton can see I don't know, like ghosts or something. Will Wheaton is really annoying.
That's a good trait.
Picard is a eunuch. Like all these, you take all the I
Yeah.
burnt out on that one.
Yeah,
But
nice.
it lost steam. There was nothing else. But yeah, no, it's all these sort of like, the Klingon is like not like obsessed with fighting.
No, he's like a chill dude for the most part.
The woman on the bridge is like a psychic. That's her thing. But that's also like a sexist thing. Is because it's like
Voodoo psychic lady?
No, because she's not a psychic. She's an empath.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Which
no.
is, I can feel people's feelings.
Yeah.
Which is a female trait.
That is like a trope.
These witchy women and their observing of emotions.
Yeah. That is wow. That's
Men are not. We
Isn't-
can never learn that sorcery.
Isn't she supposed to be an alien? Isn't that why she's
She's
an empath?
half.
Okay, but she just looks
Mudblood.
like a human.
Yes.
Also, Vulcans are just humans with
Also,
pointy
Data
ears.
is pretty great. Data's pretty good.
He's like a gold human.
He's not gold. His
He's
skin
like-
is just
It's
like
weird.
olive, and his eyes are gold. So
I was like half.
yeah,
right.
no, that's fine. He's the Robo Man. There's a Robo Man.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're talking
The first
about.
episode of TNG is
He
actually
looks really
good,
gross
where
looking.
they run into like an entity bigger than time that like comes to them as like Christopher Columbus, and I'm like, what? And he's like, no, because like I'm appearing to you as a ship captain, like to relate. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And he's like, basically, I don't want to let you go further in space because I have watched you guys, and I think humans are real bad.
It's a fair assessment.
And he's like, well, and that's the whole thing. He's like, you guys are on trial for being a savage race.
yeah, isn't that like Q? Isn't that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah. And he appears to them as that, and then he appears as like a Cold War army officer. And then what I think is actually very cool is he appears as like another thing that like we haven't seen yet in Earth, but he's like, this is from that other stage in Earth's history when people were prejudiced. And it's like, oh, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's it's a little head scratcher. Yeah.
I like how we're doing the thing that Dan asked us not to do by talking about the next
I think
generation.
because I think it's actually got cool
you,
ideas.
You guys are making some good entertainment.
I think it's cool ideas.
That was not sarcasm. Sorry.
So, do you want to hear my idea for what we do next week?
Do you want me to go through all the ideas I have?
Well, I'm gonna tell you because
Oh,
my
yeah.
idea
Okay,
is
yeah.
agnostic of what we do, no
Okay.
matter what we decide to do. And
Yeah.
I might say, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do, but it'll be a trick.
Yeah.
Because no matter what we do next week, I am going to be talking about Ken Burns' Jazz, like the 12-part Ken Burns documentary. So even if at a later date we decide, hey, we're gonna be doing like
Jazz.
I'm going to be talking about the extremely dry.
Oh, these are just historical documentaries.
Yes, about jazz.
Wait, about jazz? I'm just seeing like a bunch like Civil War, World War.
Well,
baseball,
he does this, but he also
Prohibition.
had like a 12-part jazz series that like it was like a big deal like years. It was like the thing that like you would say that you saw, but like of course you didn't see it because it's like, incredibly boring.
It sounds awful. How are you going to talk about that for an hour and a half to 2 hours?
I'm just gonna shoehorn it into whatever we're talking about.
All right, I'd like to see you try. I think that's all we got for y'all today.